Hey, friends. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart. Hey, Hallmarkies. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, joined today by my good friend, Alex, to talk about the recent Hallmark Channel rom-com, Savoring Paris, starring Stanley Weber, Joy Lenz, and Ben Wiggins. It was written by Joy Botkin and directed by Claire Niederprom. Disillusioned with her life, Ella embarks on a soul-searching journey to Paris, where she navigates love, self-discovery, and cheese amidst the enchanting backdrop of the city of love. Welcome back to the podcast, Alex. I'm excited to chat with you today about the movie.
Yes, thank you for having me back
Of
on,
course.
Nicole. It's been
Yes.
like a good month since I've been on.
I think
Took
it's
a little
been
break,
more than a month. Yeah.
right? But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this one. It was
Yeah.
definitely one of my favorites from Bethany. If
Yeah.
I had my pick, it's definitely in my top 4 favorite Bethany Joy Lenz movies of all time. That's how much I loved it.
Oh,
But
wow. Yeah.
yeah, I like everything about it was great.
Yeah. I was going to ask, what are your hot takes on this movie?
Yes. Let's see. Like I said, the whole story, like the story was well written. I thought the cast had great chemistry. I thought Bethany had great chemistry with each of the guys, with Stanley Weber and Ben Wiggins, and just like the whole like the story of like her life, like her like going to Paris to rediscover who she was. And then, like, obviously, the backdrop of Paris was gorgeous. Like, the scenery in this movie was beautiful. And I thought, like, it tied, like, the whole, like, story, like, tied up, like, together really well.
Yeah, I think
I
so
loved it.
too. Amazing chemistry with the cast, scenery, the costumes were
Uh,
on point.
we gotta talk about those
Yes.
later on. All
Yes.
the outfits, because I loved
Yes.
everything.
The friendship between Ella and, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing her name, but Clotilde. What did you think about their friendship throughout the movie?
Oh, I thought it was like a really sweet friendship between the two of them, because like she met her because she was subletting her
Yeah.
apartment for her, and they got really close from staying in the same apartment together,
Yeah.
and they became really good friends. I thought they had a really good friendship.
Yeah, me too. And I kind of chuckled at the scene when Ella first got to the apartment and met Clotilde, and
Yes.
Ella goes in for the hug, and she's like, "The French don't hug."
Yeah, that scene was funny.
They
But
kissed, like,
right, they can
not,
not them specifically.
yeah, like the two sides of the
Yeah,
face,
yeah,
yeah,
I know what you meant.
which is true.
No, it is. Yeah, yes.
Yes. And we can talk about that later on because
Mm-hmm.
the hugging comes into play in another scene,
Right.
which was actually one of my favorites between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the mother-daughter relationship with Ella and Laurie?
Yeah.
Laurie was a
Mm.
little too much.
Right. Right. Like when just thinking of it like from her mother's standpoint.
Hmm. I get it from her mother's
Right, her
standpoint.
like her from her mother, what I got from like out of it, like the part her mother played in this movie,
Hmm.
where I felt like she had like deep down inside, like she had her daughter's best interest at
Hmm.
heart, but
Yeah.
she wasn't seeing it
Hmm.
because she was so blinded by the way like the way only she wanted to see it,
Hmm.
and like she
Yeah.
wasn't looking past it, like thinking about her, like she wasn't putting her daughter's feelings and happiness
Yeah.
first.
True.
She
Yeah.
was like she was thinking about it from her perspective. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
right.
Yeah.
Like I feel like she overly cared, but she was a lot. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yes, I agree. And the one scene, I think, before Ella left for Paris when they were at that house that her mom wanted
Yes.
her to buy. I was just like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Like even what she was like, I know like that's one thing I meant to add. Her mom's a real estate agent, and she was trying to like help her like find the home because she
mhm,
wanted to settle down, and she didn't want to do that just yet.
mhm,
Ella, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
she wasn't. I mean, in the be like if I'm just going I hope this makes sense.
yeah,
In the beginning of the movie, you see her like at her job, Bethany Joy Lenz.
mhm,
She's a recipe developer for this
yes,
food company in San Diego. I have to name it Bistro Bon Vivant. Like so, like as when the movie first opened up, not to repeat myself again, I saw like her character,
mhm,
Bethany Joy Lenz's character Ella, being like I guess dissatisfied by where she was at in her life. Like she, I,
mhm,
I don't know. Like you understand what I'm trying to say?
yeah,
Like she was dissatisfied about where her life was at, like in her job, and
yeah,
I think she was like putting on a front in a way and make like
yeah,
everything was like put together. Meanwhile, it
mhm,
really wasn't, and that's why she wants. That's why all these things like happening in her life, like the
mhm,
mom with trying to find her a house, and she's like she didn't get that her promotion at this job,
yeah,
right? So
mhm,
like so she was like just not happy. The reason she went to Paris a second time was because
mhm,
when she was in college, she worked at a sandwich shop and she
yes,
tried this piece of cheese
and it changed her life.
and changed her
Yeah,
life. And she wanted to
yes,
go to Paris to try all the cheeses. So that's
yes,
what she did. So she felt like this was the only way
yeah,
she was going to be able to get her life
mm,
back on track and rediscover
yeah,
who she was is by going back to Paris.
yeah,
And that's what happened.
yes, yep, agreed. I also loved the banter, especially between Joy and Stanley. I thought that they
Yes,
had some great lines
they
between
did. They did. Like the
each
back and
other.
forth
Yeah.
between the two of them
Hmm.
it was really good.
Yes, I think so too. But anyway, going into some highlights or key moments, would you like to start off?
Yes. Some of my like favorite moments like in the movie for me.
Hmm.
Oh my god, I feel like there were so many of them. There were
I
so
know.
many.
I wanted to write down every single
I
scene
know.
almost.
I'm like looking at my notes, but
Yeah.
there were so many of them.
Yeah.
I feel like the picnic date I loved
That was one
when
of
they
my
went on a pic,
favorites.
right? When Serge took her out on the picnic
Yeah.
day, I thought that was really cute, a cute
Yeah.
scene. I really loved the second date she went on with Gaston at the Eiffel Tower. That I thought that was a cute scene. It was actually like kind of funny at the same time. Even the scene before that when her roommate threw the party and she just found out that Gaston was her cousin. I was like, of course. I'm like, of course he's her cousin, obviously. But that
Yeah.
was like a really funny scene. One of the funniest scenes had to be
Yeah.
when she was in town.
Hmm.
It was like toward
And
like the beginning or like the middle, and she was eating the chocolate crepe, and it was like all over. It was all over her hands, and then Serge sees her like, and he walks
she
by,
was
and
just
he's just
like,
looking at her. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
that scene. I thought that scene was cute.
Yeah, me too. Do you like crepes?
I've always wanted to try a crepe before. And funny story, Nicole. When I went to Colorado 2 years ago, there was this like iconic crepe cart, and me and
Yeah.
my family, we couldn't get on it because the line was so long. We were so
Oh,
disappointed. We wanted to try it, but they look so good. They look so
they are
good. I never
good.
had one though.
It's been a while since I've had one, but they are really good. And one year, I don't remember how old I was. I think I was maybe in high school, probably ninth grade. And one of my friends and her mom came with us to my grandmother's for Thanksgiving, and they're French.
Oh,
And my friend's mom, I think it was the day after Thanksgiving, or maybe it was Thanksgiving morning. I can't remember for sure. She made authentic French crepes, and they were
oh my god.
amazing.
They're probably so because they're probably so good.
Yeah. And this friend and I, we have known each other since preschool. So,
Oh, I love that.
yeah. Going back to the beginning for
Hmm.
just a second, some of the dialogue had me cracking up when she is saying, I'm not sure we can legally call this cheese. When she's trying her own sandwich that got approved.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. That okay. Let me just start off by saying that was the fakest looking cheese I've ever seen in my entire life. That's like the fake cheese they put into Cheez-Its, Nicole. That's what that looked like. It was like not no, that was not cheese. Totally not
Yeah.
cheese. That was so fake. So fake.
I also laughed when she said, I'm just realizing the Comte I had in Paris. That was the happiest time of my life. What if I'm never that happy again? What if this is it? What if this is the happiest I'm ever going to be? I can't live like that. Corporate ladders and plastic cheese and flash frozen eggs.
I know she was like acting and that seemed like her life was over.
Oh my gosh.
No, but in that moment, like she had to make a change, and that's what she did. So,
This shade thrown by Serge when they first meet, when he's like, apologies, but I don't sell cheese in a can.
like you said before, Nicole, like the banter between the two of them was so good. It was so
Oh,
good.
oh
Like the
my
back and
gosh.
forth. It was so fun to watch too.
Yeah, that was a fun scene when they meet for the first time.
The meet cute, yeah.
Yeah. And then Gaston and Ella's first meeting when he's offering to take the photo and she calls him
Right.
gallant and he's like,
Yeah.
Moliere declared Frenchmen have an unlimited capacity for gallantry. And then she follows up with, I think the rest of that quote is, and indulge it on every occasion. Oh my God.
Right. Right.
And then he offers to be a tour guide and
Mm-hmm.
they flirt a little bit
Right.
and
Right.
yeah, which
That
I
like in
thought,
that scene too, right away, I can totally tell. I'm like, yeah, this guy's gonna be a player. I can tell
hmm
already. But I feel like honestly, Nicole, I feel like he really wasn't that bad. Like he was, but I feel like I've watched other movies and like past actors that have been like a little bit like so like or like
hmm
not shady, I should say. I guess I guess there aren't really a lot of guys that play players in these type of a movie in these type of movies. So,
hmm
but him, I thought he played a good part,
He
but I feel
did,
like he
yeah.
wasn't that bad.
Ben did a good job in this
Mm-hmm.
role.
Yep.
And
Like he
uh,
was a player, but he was charming at the same time.
oh, he was so suave. He was so suave. And not to get too off topic, but I feel like Gaston, in a way, is Lucas on When Calls the Heart, except Lucas is not a player.
No, exactly. No, exactly. No way.
Lucas is so suave.
Right? Like
Like,
no, like that's what I was gonna bring up too. Like not to like just to reference SSD. Like Gaston wasn't no Oliver O'Toole. That was not for sure.
no, Gaston is like Steve,
Yes,
except
Gaston. Yes.
except I don't think Gaston would take Ella to a third world country and put her in danger.
Definitely not. Like Gaston was staying in Paris. He goes, I'm not going anywhere.
Oh my gosh. But yes, I
No.
saw that
Yeah.
comparison right away because
Mm-hmm.
Gaston is all about the dates and the grand
Yeah.
gestures,
Serious.
and
Yes. Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
all Lucas too. So,
Mm-hmm.
and probably even Steve, although Steve is like, nah, Steve's just Steve,
Steve.
all about himself and his
Right?
job.
Yep. Like I said, Oliver is in his own lane on
Yep, just like Nathan is in his own
his
lane.
own lane.
Yes. Okay. The talk that Ella and Clotilde had when they first meet.
Mm-hmm.
about where Ella works, and
Right.
the escargot tacos, which is made out of cod. Ew.
No, I would. You cannot pay me enough money in the world to try snails. You cannot pay me.
Actually, escargot is pretty good, but escargot
Is it?
tacos,
Oh, tacos, right? I don't know. I was
mm-mm.
just never a big. Every time someone brought up escargot to me, I'm like, no, thank you. I'll
It's
pass
pretty
on
good,
snails.
yeah, from what I can
But
remember.
yeah, but not in a taco. Definitely not. You cannot ruin good tacos.
Uh-uh. No. I think I'd pick spaghetti tacos over escargot
Oh,
tacos.
100%. Any type of taco, Mexican tacos, spaghetti tacos,
You know where I
shrimp
got spaghetti
tacos.
tacos? Hi, Carly.
I call it.
They always had spaghetti tacos.
Oh, they did, right? They did. That's so funny that you remember that.
Yes, that was one of my favorite shows. Still is.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And they also talk about finding joy, which I thought was nice too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another great scene between Serge and Ella was when she's mentioning that she came to Paris for the experience she has while eating cheese, and she wants to take a cheese making course.
Right.
They talk about cheddar, and he, kind of gives a nah look. And she's like, your disdain is palpable and noted. And after his follow up to that, she says, we also eat mozzarella in stick form and deep dish pizza.
I love deep dish pizza with mozzarella cheese.
Yeah, it's
Cheddar
pretty
cheese, I
good.
love.
Yeah,
Mozzarella cheese, all the basic cheeses I basically have. Swiss,
yeah,
American, mozzarella, cheddar.
yeah.
Never
Yes.
had any of the fancy ones like they did in this movie, but
I've had a couple of fancy French cheeses, but it's
nice.
been a while. Yeah.
I've had all the basic ones. Nothing fancy from me. I thought what was really cute too, like in this movie, how like she every single day she was determined to try 5 different cheeses each day, but then she wound
hmm
up changing her mind towards the end of the movie. She goes, "No, I'm only down to one."
Yeah. When I was in middle school, I was in a French club,
Oh,
and
nice.
we did a lot of fun things. And one of the things we did was going to a French restaurant in downtown Charleston, and that's when I
Mm.
had escargot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we would have French cheeses during our meetings, while we're talking
Oh, okay.
about different things.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was fun. I also love how she calls him Monsieur Fromage.
She called no Gaston or Serge that I can't remember.
Serge.
Serge, she called Serge that right.
Yes. Another great moment was Ella and Clotilde's talk over wine and cheese when she decides that she wants to move to Paris.
I love that conversation they
Yeah.
had. I really love that comment because it she was trying to Ella was trying to let her know. She goes, "Oh, I'm gonna be here for 2 weeks and everything's gonna go everything like it's gonna change my life." And then
hmm
Clotilde was trying to tell her, "You're gonna need more time than that,
hmm
so you might as well stay for the
Yeah.
3 months." And she goes, "I can't." She goes, Ella goes, "I can't stay for 3 months. I can't quit my job." But then like
Yeah.
she thought about it for a second. She goes, she realized, she goes, "This is one of the only things in my life that I
hmm
have actually done for myself." And she
Yeah.
took the chance and she wound up staying for the 3 months. And I feel like
Yeah.
they really look like they bonded in that scene too,
Yeah, I think
which I
so
love.
too. Serge and Ella, when she's saying how she wants to try all the cheeses, and he says, would you like it all wrapped separately, or should I just melt it into one giant, disgusting fondue? And she's like, no fondue, it's disgusting. Also,
Fondue cheese is good. I've had it once. It was good.
oh, that's good. I don't think I've ever had it, but I'll have to try it.
I had it once at a party. I forgot some type of a party I was at. I had it. I tried it.
Yeah. And also, I'm gonna need a bigger cracker. That was hilarious.
That was
Yes.
one thing I loved about this movie too. It kept me like entertained throughout the whole 2 hours. Like I
hmm
wasn't That's why I loved it too. It was very
Yeah.
entertaining.
Yeah, I think so too. A scene when Gaston was very smooth was the first dinner that they have. And, he's complimenting her, and she finds out he's a food critic. And then after they're leaving the restaurant, he's like, it's never work when I'm with you. And then he kisses her on the cheek.
Right.
That was sweet, but it was very smooth.
Very, yes, very his character.
Yes, I agree.
But in that scene too, I found it so hilarious that Adele, the waitress. Let me
Hmm.
just bring up the waitress.
Yeah, can we just
There was definitely something going on between those two throughout in the entire movie. I felt like the back and forth between them. But what I
hmm.
found was so funny, there was and every single time they were together, Gaston and Ella, she was
Yeah,
always there, Adele, and she can never remember who Ella was. I'm like, how can
yeah,
you not remember? You saw this
yeah.
woman 3 times. How can you not remember who she was? I just found that hilarious.
Yeah, I agree. How can you not remember her? Like,
How can you not remember her? Like, you saw her 3 times.
yeah. This is a scene that kind of made me laugh a little bit with Ella and Clotilde when they're on the balcony, and I think it's the morning after the date with Gaston, the first dinner
Oh,
date.
the first date. Okay.
And they're talking about Bastille Day, and
Mm-hmm.
Ella's like, do I have to storm a prison or topple a monarchy? Because I don't know if I have the energy.
I know she had a lot of great lines in this movie
She
too.
did, yeah. But that was a nice friendship moment between the two of them. And
Mm-hmm. I agree.
yeah, they're talking about Gaston too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the end of that, she also gets a text from Serge inviting her on the picnic.
Yes, yes. On that, oh my God, I just have to talk about that outfit that she wears in that scene.
I love the
And
picnic outfit.
that was like in my top 3 favorite outfits
Yeah.
of the. I mean, like I love all of them, but that was definitely my top 3. Like the little tank top with like the beige skirt and like
Yeah.
the little like red bow in her hair.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
really, really like perfection,
Yeah.
that outfit.
Yes. Is Joy going to win Best Dressed for the second year in a row? I think she
She
might.
probably will. She should.
Oh my
She should.
gosh.
I like now that you bring that up, Nicole. I'm like, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, am I watching Biltmore Christmas all over again? I'm like, I'm getting deja vu.
Yes, it'll probably be her or Shane
Yes, yes,
or Rita.
definitely. Yep. The outfits in this movie were like,
Yeah, well.
I honestly, in this, I just loved every single piece of clothing that she wore.
Hmm.
I feel like I really like. Sometimes I am like that with some of the other Hallmark movies I
Hmm.
watched. But even with the Paris movies, essentially, I feel like the lead women, even like in like the previous
Hmm.
Paris movies, like the one with Mallory Jansen, her pen pal, she wore great
Yeah, she
outfits in.
did.
The one with Alexa Penavega last year, A Paris Proposal, she wore great
Hmm.
outfits in. Even the one like the old, like I'm thinking like this one movie is like so like a couple of years old.
Hmm.
The one with Jen Lilly and Dan
Hmm.
Jeanette, Paris Wine and
Yeah,
Romance. Like I loved her outfits in that too. I feel
yeah,
like it's like the city. It's like the place, like the movie, the setting that makes them like dress
yeah.
like in all these
Hmm.
like beautiful
Yeah.
clothes. But yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite outfits of the
Yes.
entire film.
Yes. Well, I probably would not wear it. I did love the dress she wore for the Bastille Day party, the pink and the orange with the bow.
Oh yes, it was the second date.
I think, yes.
The second date, yeah, that was like my second favorite outfit of the movie, like the high waisted red pants, and she had like the pink bow crop top.
Yep,
Oh
I
my god, I
think
love that
so.
outfit.
Yeah, it was
Love that
really
one.
cute. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved the talk they had, Ella and Gaston, and his reaction to trying the cheese. And he's like,
Not a
mm,
fan. You're not a fan at all. And she felt like she was gonna give him a totally different reaction,
yep,
and
yep,
he just gave her that, and she's like, okay.
yes. And then they talk about love, and he says, "So I have cared deeply for people, but I have never said I love you to a girlfriend. I believe the words have power, and when I say them, I want it to be forever. And I
Mm-hmm.
do want to say them just to the right person."
Mm-hmm.
Which I did love that quote because that is
Yes.
very true.
Yes. Yes. Very sweet.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
then he says, "Je t'aime bien," I think,
Yes.
which means I
Yes.
like you. And she took it as I love you.
I love you. Nicole, honestly, that would be me if I went to France. I would misunderstand what people were saying and think it
Yeah.
means something else. That would be me. So,
Yeah. I did take French in a few grades when I was in school, but I haven't taken a
mhm.
class on it since.
Yeah.
So,
I remember when I was
yeah.
in high school, there were like a lot of students took, we had like an
Yeah.
option to take French,
Or
Spanish.
Spanish.
Yeah. I took Spanish.
That
But
was
I
my
know,
two
yeah,
options.
I know some friends of mine that took French. They said
Yeah.
it was difficult. It was hard.
It is difficult.
It was
Yeah.
hard. I remember them telling me that specifically it was a really hard class.
Yeah. I got an A in French class,
Oh, good
but
for you. Good for you.
thank you. Thank you. I don't think I did as well my first year I took it, but I think when I got into middle school and I had another teacher,
Oh,
my
okay.
grade was better.
Ah,
So it was probably just the teacher and her
yeah, probably
like
the T. Yeah.
methods. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of my favorite classes, and I loved the two teachers I had in middle school.
Oh, that's good. That's always
Yes.
teachers are always important.
Yes, they are. Serge and Ella when they're making the camembert cheese together. And
Mm,
this is when we find out he taught himself to make cheese when he was going through his divorce after nearly a decade to his college sweetheart.
yeah.
She realized he had feelings for someone else, an affair
Mm,
of the heart.
yep.
Um, this is why you break off a relationship before you get married.
Married, yes. Yes. Thank you for bringing that point up, Nicole, because that's an excellent point. Exactly. You break up, like you said, you don't go into a marriage okay, I'm going to sound like Oliver O'Toole here, but you don't go into a marriage unsure of yourself. Like you have to go into a marriage with your whole heart. And you know what I'm saying? That's not
Yes.
like, unfortunately, that's where it leads to a divorce. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like you have to really take things like into consideration and like
Yeah.
make sure like you're making the right decision,
Hmm.
because if you're not, it's going to end up not the way you
Yes.
want it to turn out. So,
Yes.
but
This
no,
is why.
I felt for him in that scene, Serge, because I feel like throughout the movie, his character Stanley Weber, I feel like he was very, I guess, not uptight. He was very like reserved. Like he was like very reserved, and I'm told because she was going back and forth, Ella, between like in the cheese shop, and then like she started working
Hmm.
there
Yeah.
for him later on. But I feel like the first time he really like opened up to her was the picnic date, and then they started to get closer as the movie
Hmm.
progressed. And that
Yeah.
second date they had, that's
Yeah.
like when he really started to like open
Yeah.
himself up and then talk about all that
Yeah.
like stuff in his past.
Yes. This is why a certain character broke up with another certain character before she got too deep because the heart wants what it wants.
Ron's exact.
And she
Yep.
couldn't give this person her whole heart. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
the person she broke up with.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
That was the
yes.
right decision.
In the middle of them making cheese together, I guess they come to a break in the cooking process, and
Yes.
he takes her to the building next to his cheese shop,
Mm-hmm.
which is where, spoiler for the end, the
Right.
expansion is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
he shows her around and, she's coming up with all these ideas. And I thought their talk there was a nice moment.
Right. Right. Yeah. There was a couple of scenes between Serge and Ella
Yeah.
in the expansion shop that I really loved. But yeah,
Hmm.
that was one of them. That was definitely
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah. And they decide to be partners, which I
Yes.
loved. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another favorite moment was with Serge and Ella when they have their talk on the sin. And,
Mm-hmm.
he's asking why she chose to go there first instead of the Eiffel Tower. And she
Right.
says it's because of her dad. He used to tell her stories about the adventures they'd have together, and a picnic there was one of
Mm.
them. They talk about
Yes.
bucket list. Serge doesn't believe in them.
Yeah.
Instead, he has a reverse bucket list where he crosses off everything he doesn't absolutely need to do until all he
Mm-hmm.
has left is what he can't live without doing. That's actually
That
pretty
right?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty smart. I love that scene between
Yes.
them. I
Yes.
also love, oh my God, that's another one of my favorite outfits she wore. Like
Hmm.
the long
Yeah.
crocheted burgundy dress.
Yeah.
Like that's
That was
something I
pretty.
would honestly wear in real life.
Yeah,
But
it was a very pretty dress.
very pretty. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a really like that was a cute scene between the two of them.
Yes. I think Serge is like Oliver. Oliver doesn't like bucket list either.
Yes, they do have that in common.
I thought of that right away.
Right?
And then Norman's comment, a list of buckets?
It's like,
But we're going down a rabbit hole.
I
So
know, right?
back to Savoring Paris.
Right.
This scene, we mentioned it a little bit earlier on, but Ella and Clotilde, when Clotilde is saying that she wants to be just like Ella and wants meaning to her life, which is
Mm,
more than just party.
right.
And
Yeah.
Ella tells her that she's made a difference in her life. They talk about
Mm,
home, and
right.
then they share the hug, and
Oh
Ella's
yeah.
like, I thought the French don't hug. They do when you need it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Now that you're bringing that scene up again, I know exactly what scene you're talking about. That's when Clotilde, like, she was really down on herself. Like, she was like,
Yeah.
wasn't that scene you're talking about, right, Nicole?
Hmm.
She was like very down on herself, and
Yeah.
then Ella was telling her, "Oh, you're a great person. Like, you're so much fun to be around."
Hmm.
And yeah, that's my second favorite scene between
Yes.
them.
This scene kind of made me laugh just a little bit with one of Laurie's comments, but when they're walking through an area of the city and she's mentioning that she's happy in Paris and wants to stay. And
Mm-hmm.
Laurie
Mm-hmm.
is like, you're on vacation living a fantasy, eating nothing but croissants and camembert, being seduced by a dapper food critic and a rugged cheesemonger. But um
Right, like she was like on like throughout the movie though. She was juggling these two guys, but that wasn't the sole reason she was there. She was
no,
at
he
in
was
the
there for herself.
at yes, she was there for herself, and she tells her mother that in that scene
Yes.
because she thinks she's like in that this is get they have this conversation later on, but
Yeah.
she says this in this scene too when she
Hmm.
comes to visit after like she sold that
Yeah.
house to go visit her daughter because she tells her in that scene, Alice, she goes, "Oh, I'm
Hmm.
thinking about staying here permanently." And she goes, What are you gonna do here? You have no job. Your
Hmm.
money's like your savings are gonna be depleted. Like what?
Hmm.
Who you gonna stay with? And she feels like she's doing it because of like what happens if she ends up one of these guys? Like is she staying because of one of these guys? You know what I'm saying? That's what the mother
Yeah.
ultimately thinks. Like she's not listening to what her daughter is trying to
Hmm.
tell her.
No, she's not.
She's
Yeah.
not like she's doing it for herself.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I did kind of feel bad for the mom when Ella said, there's nothing for me at home.
yeah, yeah. Because I felt bad in that scene too because you can tell the mother's feelings were hurt by what she said.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Probably not the best
way to phrase it.
say. Yeah.
Not the best way to phrase it.
Yes. But they did make up
Mm-hmm.
in a scene shortly after that. And I loved
Yes.
that scene too.
Mm-hmm.
when she apologizes for not
Yeah.
being more supportive,
Yeah. Yep.
and that she'll visit if Ella
Right.
moves there. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Skipping back a little, I loved the dinner with Serge and Ella when they're eating the Comté and they talk over wine.
Yes.
But this is also when he asks her to leave when he finds out about Gaston.
No. Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. That was the scene towards the end, like towards the end of the movie, where
Yes,
they
it
were on
was.
the date.
Hmm.
Yes, like
At
that.
his
I know. Oh
house.
my, yeah,
Yeah.
that scene. And I feel like that scene too was like a very like adult like conversation
Hmm.
scene, and I appreciated that because I feel like in previous movies, Nicole, like sometimes the guys and the girls they go like Peter Patter like back and forth
Yeah.
with each other, and they don't like she up front just asks him
Hmm.
like, can you please like not shut down on me
Yeah.
and like tell me what's going on, and he just tells her to leave. But I feel like that was like a very like an adult
Hmm.
thing to do of Ella,
Yeah.
which they are adults obviously, but I
Yes,
feel
they
like
are.
sometimes we don't see those type of scenes in other movies, which
Hmm.
but I like that they put it in this movie.
Yes, me too.
Mhm.
Even though she was trying to say, I don't feel the same way.
Right, right, she was trying to tell him
Yeah.
she doesn't feel the same way about Gaston. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt bad for Ella because
Right,
Serge was just shutting her down,
right. Mm-hmm.
even
Right.
though
He
she
tries, like
was,
you said in that scene, he tries to kiss her and she pulls back. And
yeah.
then he gets, because he makes him think this must be about Gaston. That's why she's
Hmm.
pulling away from me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I can understand because of, him going through a divorce, but still,
Right.
come on, Serge.
I know, right?
Yeah. Oh, Laurie in this scene. Now, this is before she apologizes, but
Mm-hmm.
they're talking about how things went with Serge, and Laurie's like, I think you're going to meet someone great back home. And Ella's like, you're not
Oh,
listening.
this conversation was, oh my God, this was a scene because like once again, like this is what her mother was doing. She was thinking about it only from her point of
Yeah.
view, and she wasn't thinking about her daughter's feelings and
Hmm.
what makes her happy. And like she says it to her in that scene. She goes, Mom, she goes, that's is that all you can think about is me coming back
Hmm.
home? She goes, I
Yeah.
seriously like I really like this guy, and i'm
Yeah.
thinking about I'm thinking about his feelings and
Hmm.
what I did to him.
Yeah.
Her mom feels like, oh, this is just you wanting to get back into the dating pool, and this is all a
Hmm.
fantasy for you being in Paris and
Hmm.
this, that, and the other. And it wasn't. And I feel like Ella, like she really stuck up for herself in that scene. I was so proud of her.
Yeah, I was too.
Right? I was so proud of her in that scene. I'm like,
Yeah.
good for you. I'm like, because like every time she tried to speak to her mother, I feel like throughout the film, like nothing was getting through to her.
Hmm. Gaston and Ella, they clear the air and they agree to just be friends. Like she finds out that he was really saying, I like you,
Mm-hmm.
not I love you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then Ella goes to talk to Serge and she admits to him that there is something between them.
Mm,
And, she is talking about not leaving. And he
mm-hmm.
says, but even if you didn't leave, how could I trust being with you? Who would I be with when you don't know who you are?
Mm.
Um,
Uh,
this puts me in mind of a scene from Bells,
yep.
one of the most iconic scenes when Shane tells Oliver, I know who I am and I know
Mm.
you. Before anyone gets into a relationship, you
You
have to
have to
know who
know
you
who
are.
you are. Yep. Exactly. And that's what people I feel like sometimes they forget about that because they they want to be in a relationship so
Yeah.
badly and they feel like they're going to solely rely on their partner for
Hmm.
validation, but you have to like see the validation. You have to like know who you are
Yeah.
first to be fully like equipped for the right relationship. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, love that scene in the house.
Yeah.
It's Shane Oliver's best scene. It's their best scene. Their best
Yes.
scene.
it is. And this was a good scene between Serge and Ella too.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
The opening night party. And I love the brief talk with Gaston, the toast from Serge and Ella's speech. And at the end of Ella's speech, she's like, good cheese requires good friends.
Another one of my favorite outfits she wore in that end scene.
That was a cute dress.
Like bow, like off the shoulder dress. So pretty.
Yes, it was. And then Serge and Ella, and this is after she and her mom are about to leave, but then Clotilde gives her the Camembert cheese from Serge, and she's like, I have to stay.
Because I have to go. I'm like, go get your man.
Yep. She goes to declare her feelings, and she's talking about making cheddar and aging it together the rest of our lives if we want to. I want to because you're my mimolette. And then she starts talking about the mixing of cheese metaphors.
Oh my God. That part was hilarious.
Yes.
She goes, I know I'm talking about cheese metaphors here.
Yeah. And then you're my reverse bucket list.
So sweet.
Yes. And then they share a kiss and they have a moment outside La Cheddarie, which is the expansion.
Yep.
And live happily ever after.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would love a sequel with these
that
characters.
Would be fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See where they are after where this movie ends. Is there anything else you want to share about this movie?
Not that, well, I mean, I was going to add a couple of funny lines, but they don't really go along. Since we wrapped everything. But the funniest lines in the movie for me is when they were at Serge's place and they were about to make the cheese and she saw the mini guillotine.
That was.
Ella goes, are we going to reenact the French Revolution in miniature? I love that one. And then I love actually the scene where her mom was in town and they first meet up with she first meets up with Gaston and the mother could tell in 2 seconds after
that's Gaston.
That's Gaston. And she goes, don't worry, he'll be fine.
Yep. Also, I don't know why, but every time I hear Gaston, I think of Beauty and the Beast.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, me too. That's what I immediately thought of too. I'm like Beauty and the Beast, Gaston.
Yes. Although this Gaston is not as devilish as the other Gaston.
Definitely not.
Or evil.
No. The part where she was working in one of the days she was working in the shop, Ella and Gaston comes in. Like that's another scene I found really funny, how they like knew each other, Gaston and Serge. Serge owned the cheese shop and he was a
food critic.
So obviously like they met before. And the scene where he walks into the cheese shop, Gaston to talk to Ella.
Yeah.
And they have they share words. Like, oh my God, these two.
Yeah. And Gaston says, Gaston, the cad, Serge, the grump. Oh my gosh. So funny. Yeah. But this was a good movie. I think we pretty much covered what we want to talk about.
Yep.
Moving on to ratings, what would you give this movie for plot and script out of 10?
10 out of 10.
I gave it 9. Yeah.
I really loved it.
Yeah, it was good. Chemistry.
10 out of 10 too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I thought the whole cast had great chemistry and she had great chemistry with both of the guys.
I think so too. Scenery.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. You can't beat Paris. And they felt like the way they filmed everything in this movie was beautiful.
Yeah, I totally agree. And overall?
10 out of 10.
Yeah. I gave it 9, but still a great movie.
Yeah. Like I said, definitely one of my favorite Bethany Joy Lennon movies.
Yes,
of
me
mine.
too. Yeah. Well, this is always so much fun having you on, Alex. I cannot wait for next time.
Yes, it was so great to be back again. I really enjoyed like talking about this movie, and yeah, we always have a good time.
Yes, we do. All right, Hallmarkies, I think that wraps up our review of Savoring Paris. If you enjoyed this episode, you can like this video and share your thoughts on the movie in the comments. If you want to stay up to date on all of my movie reviews, you can subscribe to this channel and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when new episodes come. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.